My name is Denise Evans with Butler Evans Real Estate. We are commercial and investment real estate brokers in Alabama with a strong commitment to investor education. This video is about Tenant Estoppel Letters, an important due diligence tool. Estoppel is a legal concept. One circumstance of its use has to do with stopping somebody from saying something different than they said before. Well, how is this relevant? An estoppel letter is a statement by somebody, usually the seller and/or the tenant, saying it is signed under oath. It certifies that the statements in the letter are true and correct, and any attachments, such as the lease, are true and correct copies. If the signer later changes its mind and has a different story, it is not allowed to change its story because it is now estopped. The letter can form the basis of a fraud claim against a seller despite as-is language in the contract. Here's some examples. The tenant letter says it has no unresolved claims against the landlord. After sale, the tenant complains about mold, needed repairs, or incorrect security deposit amount. It is estopped to claim that those things existed before the sale. So it can complain about mold after the sale, but not damages and health problems that date back to before the sale, or things that should have been done before the sale. Same thing about the repairs. It cannot complain that the security deposit is a different amount because it confirmed that it was the amount in the estoppel letter, and now it can't say it's something different. The seller letter says it has provided all requested documentation to the buyer, which is true and correct. After sale, the buyer learns that the tenant past due status is worse than represented, and that the city inspection department has issued a letter saying the property must be vacated until electrical repairs are completed. This is not true. This can form the basis of a fraud claim. In the purchase and sale agreement, I recommend you include a clause that attached or similar tenant and landlord estoppel letters must be executed at or before closing, or the contract can be canceled. I like to attach copies of the letters to the PSA. Otherwise, you're going to negotiate that language after you have a signed contract, and everything could fall apart just on the wording of the estoppel letters. If additional time is required to get the estoppel letters from the tenants, your PSA should say that the contract price will be reduced by a specified amount per day that closing is delayed. If not delivered by a deadline of X number of days, then buyer can cancel the contract without penalty. In the seller deliverables portion of a PSA, you should ask for, and this is for a small residential property. I do have forms available for other types of properties. We will discuss that at the end. So you should ask for the lease plus all amendments and extensions, any public housing authority paperwork, including inspection results. This is for Section 8. Default notices to or from the tenant. Notices of non-renewal to or from the tenant. The tenant rent ledger with current status, number of times past due, and security deposit. Any notices received from public authorities. Typically, the due diligence or inspection period is a certain number of days after the contract is signed, and then the earnest money goes hard, and the earnest money is not refundable. What if you've not received all the deliverables by that time and you can't form a decision about whether to cancel the contract or not? I recommend the following contract language in your PSA. Seller deliverables are due 5 days after contract execution. If any or all items are late, the inspection period will not begin until everything requested has been received by buyer and/or seller asserts in writing that such items do not exist. All deadlines that are measured from the effective date will be reset to the same number of days after full receipt of all seller deliverables. All named tenants should sign each tenant estoppel letter with a signature line for the owner certifying that the named signer actually signed the document. In other words, we want the owner to certify that these are not forgeries. I like landlord estoppel letters to be signed by the landlord and the property manager if there is one, so there's no finger pointing about who knew what. As far as the letters go, the tenant letter will confirm the attached lease and rent roll information are true and correct, the rent and security deposit amount, and that tenant has no unresolved complaints, requests, or issues with owner or management. The landlord letter will confirm all the deliverables are true and correct, there are no other items that were not delivered, and the attached written answers to questions asked by the buyer to the seller are true and correct. For Alabama, it should also say the representations survive closing and are not included in any as-is language in the contract. In a nutshell, use of the word as is in an Alabama purchase and sale agreement negate the ability of the buyer to sue the seller for fraud, even if the seller absolutely lied about something or forged something. So you want this to survive closing and not be included in any as-is language. Usually tenant estoppel letters are signed just a few days before closing because nobody wants the tenants upset about a sale until the last minute, till you're sure that closing is going to take place. Also, if you get those tenant letters signed too early, 30 days before closing, a lot can happen in the intervening 30 days. So that's why you want to wait to the last possible moment. Usually landlord estoppel letters are signed at closing. Well, thank you. If you like this, please subscribe to my channel. A review would be most welcome. Leave a comment on this video or email me if you want a copy of the deliverables list for a wide variety of commercial and investment properties. I'd be happy to share that with you. Also visit my website at www.butlerevansrealestate.com. Check out the properties we have listed for sale, our other educational materials, and sign up for my newsletter.